Hello, I am back. So excited to come back here and share what I would consider like the most important piece of art that I have created in my life. And I'm bringing on today my amazing friend, photographer, collaborator, Monica Justison, to share about our experience working together for my Nicaragua shoot and really marking the beginning of my reclamation journeys. So welcome, Monica.
Hello, hello. It is such an honor to be here. And yeah, like I was saying earlier, I'm just so excited to share even more about this story and the experience behind the photos and the videos because it's just so much more powerful
Yes.
when you add it to the art. So I'm just so excited for this story and this experience to live out in the world. Thank you for having
Yes,
me.
yes. I feel this is the first time we've like seen each other, face to face since
Yeah.
Nicaragua. Although I feel like we talk all the time just through like DMs and everything. Um, I just want to first start by just opening up and just sharing, I was reflecting earlier about how incredibly well I feel like we work together and how rare it actually feels for me as a creative. And I mean, I have a Capricorn moon. I was thinking you're a Capricorn. Like I feel like there's a side of me that can be very meticulous, very meticulous about that attention to detail with my style. And I have such a high level of what I consider really like good and visuals and branding. And and yeah, I feel there's such this wonderful way that we work because I feel like I can show up in my zone of genius and you can show up in yours and I can show up with like bringing ideas of things that I like and kind of coming with ideas and that doesn't scare you. Sometimes as creatives are like, I just want to have the full freedom, like let me do what I want, but like you're able to like meet me in my ideas and deliver even better than what I could do, and then also bring your own ideas, and that it's just all held in this space of like you're so grounded. I think you've done so much somatic practice that like just your presence alone, I feel so comfortable around, and that it's just magic when we create together.
Thank you. Yeah, that's such a beautiful reflection. And I couldn't agree more. The entire, from the moment you reached out with this big idea, even though we had only worked together the one time, I was just like, oh, this feels right because it really is such a creative symbiosis between us and this really balanced give and take, like you said, of like when I'm, you know, needing you to come up with a little bit more creative fire, you had it. Or when you wanted me to take the reins, I could do that. And it just, yeah, we really balanced each other out. And I think it just injected even more creativity and even more magic than I think either of us could have anticipated of just like being able to drop in so deeply in the moment, like whatever was coming through. I think that's how some of like my favorite shots from the entire experience came to be. It was just like yeah, being so present and adjusting from there. And I think that doesn't happen if you don't have this really cohesive, balanced, creative dynamic that we just
Totally.
naturally fall into, which I love.
Yes, yes, yes. Oh, I can't wait to just share all about what it was like for us. And we were talking about this because both of our work is very visual. And for me, in a lot of ways, it's just more comfortable to tell my story through my clothes or through my art. But I've been really stepping more into even more like storytelling. And for us, even to just tell this whole story of Nicaragua and all the things you don't see behind the photos, all the challenges for me, all the things that I bumped up against along the way, and some things that we, were doing certain scenes and it didn't quite land as we wanted, and we had to pivot and readjust. And so we hope that this conversation really brings even more depth to the work and understanding, and really understanding um, what the creative process was really like for us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And just like when the vision is in you, even if it doesn't like go exactly to the T how you planned, like it's going to be even better than you could imagine. You just have to like take your hands off the wheel a little bit and just let it
Yes.
unfold.
Agree. So I want to kind of like back all the way back about as far as how did this whole trip come to be and how did it come to be for us to work together? So I have been writing this book called Radiant. So Why Are You Still Single? It's about to be published. It might be published, probably published about around the time that this is going out soon anyway. And a big piece of that story is, it's really my own journey of stepping into who I really am and claiming that and shedding all these pieces of me that I'm not. And when I went on a book writing venture in Sedona, with amazing Kira Britton, who was a client of mine, and now I'm in her community. And every day we do these morning prayers and like receive these messages and these downloads for our books. And this one morning, I had kind of been playing with this idea of going to Nicaragua and feeling called to it. And really was this morning, it really like cemented in me that I wanted to do this. And I really heard this message that this was so important to my story. And just to backtrack a little bit about, I had a boyfriend from Nicaragua, back almost 15 years ago. And I never been to Nicaragua, but, me and this boyfriend had this, I guess it was in a being tumultuous relationship. And it really affected me in a really big way. And I remember after, in the healing that ensued after, I feel like I'm going to edit this.
Yeah, yeah.
I just want to say it. I feel like I'm dancing around it. So I had this boyfriend, um, in my early mid 20s, who was from Nicaragua. And I never had been to Nicaragua, but it was a relationship that really changed the course of my life. And you can read the full story in the book, but the short of it is that, I thought that he was my soulmate. We had met in this really divine way through our travels. And he had come to visit me in Virginia, and basically like my worst nightmare happened, and that is that I was a virgin, and he took advantage of me and raped me, and it was very confusing time in my life, and there's a lot more to the story, including him catfishing and having a false persona online and online abuse for years to come. Um, Anyways, I there's many different layers to the stories. In many ways, I felt like I had forgiven him and healed, and yet there was still something that was still tapping on me that I needed to really, kind of like put to rest for final. And I remember the very first healer that I had worked with, a couple years after this happened. I remember her saying, that my story and what happened with him, like it was bigger than the two of us. There was something that we were playing out in each other's cultures and each other's lands. And again, it's just there is something bigger for us collectively in the healing. And there was something that always stood out to me about that. And when I was on my book writing adventure in Sedona, I I really heard that, and really it seemed really clear that like I was meant to go to Nicaragua, and that was something really important about going there to have this full circle healing and continue on in my journey to find my true love. And many different things happened to confirm this over the coming months. And yet I kind of like I knew I wanted to do it, but I was like kind of ignoring it in a way because I had like life. I was trying to move to LA, and I'm trying to find an apartment and trying to like get clients and, and do all these things. And yet, it became to the point that was just undeniable that I needed to go. And when the fires happened in LA, I realized, it was time to let go of my apartment and do what my heart really called me to do. And part of that, one of the first things to do was to go to Nicaragua. And it's kind of crazy trying to plan something in Nicaragua. And I remember I was like trying to Google photographers there and just, oh man, it was like such a mess. And then, okay, maybe I can find a wedding photographer in Costa Rica that could come over. And I had done this amazing group breathwork class at this conference I had fled LA and I was in Phoenix for this conference. And I heard or I saw very clearly that I should hire Monica. And I'd worked with Monica before. I worked with this amazing company called Workplay Branding for a year. I did 3 shoots with them, and they have a whole roster of photographers that you use. And on my very last shoot in Virginia, Monica was my gal, and I really enjoyed working with you then. I remember just really fun hanging out with you and driving around and it was such a great shoot. I remember you had such amazing because I spontaneously was like, why don't we shoot my new Oracle cards? And you were really you have such a gift in working with spiritual entrepreneurs and all the ceremonies that you do, and that was just like so in your wheelhouse, you know? And so I was like, oh, that really makes sense to uh, like I just hadn't thought about that. I should hire Monica, you know? And so I sent you a message and then, we got on the phone and have conversation and it just from like it just was so clear that it was you. It was so clear like I was so divinely guided. And as scary as it was, I just was like, I think it's just one of those moments you just say yes, like okay, like let's buy the tickets, let's just do this.
Full send, we're doing it.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, yeah, like what was it like for you for like that first moment of me telling you about this story and going back and going to Nicaragua?
Oh, well, I think, you know, in my line of work, I hear lots of big ideas all the time that
Yeah.
don't necessarily always come to pass for one reason or another. So I think the initial thought was just like, wow, this would be the coolest thing ever. Let's see if it happens. And
Hmm.
then you kept following up and you kept the momentum going. And at a certain point, I was like, oh, this is happening. Like, we're doing this. This is real. And then I just got so excited about all of the potential and the possibilities. And then the more as it got closer and the more we chatted about just the emotional depth and the parts of your story and all of the layers to it that you were bringing to it beyond just like, oh, she's an avant-garde fashion stylist and we're going to do a beautiful shoot in a cool location. It really just felt like so aligned on every level of just like dream client, dream experience, dream everything. And just, yeah. And then you told me you like connected that it should be me in a breathwork ceremony. And I'm just like, of course this happened this way. This is like my dream life. And yeah, I just knew that like of course, we had our plan and we had, thoughts about what we wanted to try and execute, but I just kept knowing and trusting. And I think we even said that multiple times leading up to
Yeah.
it of just like, we trust that like it's going to be incredible and it's going to unfold exactly the way that it needs to.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think for me, just like, especially like every day that got closer to actually like getting
Mm.
on the plane and going, I just felt like a kid in a candy store because I was like, oh, I can't wait to go and just like play and see what you were gonna wear and just like all of the things.
Yeah. I love it. Yeah, and just to say, I think I reached out to you. This was sometime around January 20th something, and we went on, I think February 23rd was when you flew into Nicaragua.
Yeah,
Like it was literally
it was
like a
very
month
quick.
later. Yeah, it was really fast because I think one's like I had a deadline of I want to write this story in the book and I'm on a deadline with the book. And I also know that I want to go back to Bali, ideally in March. And it was kind of just like looking at your schedule, looking at my schedule, and it was like that date was open, then it was like, oh, that's actually my business anniversary. Like that sounds
Yeah.
really symbolic to do this on my business anniversary. Um, yeah, I mean, it kind of felt like an out of body experience to say yes to it, but
Yeah.
just having to just trust like there's too many signs, like just move forward on it.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
Yeah.
one of those things where it's like you can zoom out a little bit and be like, is this crazy that we're doing this? Is this crazy that
Yes.
we're going to Nicaragua next month and like all these things? And then it's like, no, it's not crazy because it's like the idea is so alive that it needs to
Yeah.
happen like this in this timing and just like yeah, it was so perfect. And it just had the exact right amount of momentum and energetic
Yeah.
momentum behind it to really like
Yeah.
fuel us, I
I think anytime you have those thoughts of like, am I being delusional? Like that's when you know you're really onto
think.
something, you know?
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
that's a green flag, actually.
Exactly.
Totally. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, as a creative, like sometimes I think I at times like I get like frozen with the like almost want to like avoid like oh my God and so yeah it was kind of down to the wire at some points and even just having to open up to okay well where are we going to go in Nicaragua and I start like researching places and you research places and put together like a Pinterest board and I had these different ideas of like some outfits and like one of them was this yellow outfit with it's like this big star, and I was like, this is the whole like the wound is where the light enters you, and then we're gonna do this other shoot at the volcano down by the lava, and those things actually didn't happen at all, and that was like not meant to be. Like there were like many things in the planning process that just like you said weren't meant to be. We actually I learned I found a really beautiful Airbnb, and actually my host was really helpful with just guiding and giving me some tips around things. Such a tip, make sure you have someone on the ground that can, know some logistical things. But he was like, yeah, you can't go to the crater now. It's been blocked off for a year. It's, not, it's dangerous. And then I ordered all these clothes, and I had some problems with some things getting delivered or some things didn't work out. So kind of had to scramble and put together, kind of some different things and even buy some things in Nicaragua. And that yeah, it is I feel it's like entering a portal of like you can try to control it and it's great to plan. It really is like you want to have some idea, some structure, but in the end, like the day is gonna go is the day is gonna go, and you just have to ride with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I think like the one thing that I was so appreciative of between you and I is just like there are different moments for one of us or both of us where it's like, oh, this is not going according to plan, or like the thing that I envisioned is not going to be able to happen. And it can be really easy to lose excitement or feel derailed or just get frustrated. And so, yeah, to have somebody in those moments that kind of like keeps the energy up and holds the frequency and stays grounded and can be like, yeah, this is not going the way that we planned it to, but like it's about to be even better. Like, look at this pile of
Mhm.
rocks over here. We wanted flowers,
Yes,
and this rock pile is incredible. And those are some of my favorite photos. Like,
yes, yes,
so
same.
yeah, I think just having the balance of being able to like, yeah, when it was overwhelming in certain aspects for you, I could hold it down. When I was getting overwhelmed with
Mhm.
certain things, you could hold it down. And then we just were able to find
I feel
that
like you
middle
were never
ground. And
overwhelmed. You were never, you were
I definitely
so
had my moments.
I know you were annoyed like in the end with in the car, and you were like, "Oh, we gotta turn around." And thank
With the
God that you
timing.
did
Yeah,
turn around.
exactly. Like
Yeah,
that was the
yeah,
moment where I'm just like, we're gonna arrive and it's gonna be dark outside and then we'll have nothing. So yeah, in a moment
yeah.
like that, it's like, and to be able to know that you trusted me to sort of
Mhm.
make that call of like we were en route to a destination to as close as we could get to this volcano, but then yeah, I'm realizing, hey, by the time we get there, it will literally be dark, so we'll get
Yeah,
nothing. Or we can backtrack and go to this like restaurant that has an overlook of the volcano and see what we can get. And again, like it turned out so incredible. They had these gorgeous like angel wings that we made use of. The view was incredible. Um, yeah, it felt like that was the perfect finale, but just
definitely.
yeah, that was a moment where panic started to come in for me because I'm
Mhm.
just like, we can't not get this outfit and this volcano like
Yeah.
vibe.
Totally, totally. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was amazing how it all turned out, but there were definitely moments of like, we gotta kind of scramble a bit. I have to say for me, up until I feel like I really hit my edge. I feel like I hit my edge in like my healing capacity. It pushed me somewhere that I didn't even know I had these
Mm.
edges. I think there were things that were like ancestral that were coming through. Like I felt insanely nervous. I wasn't nervous about, anything necessarily about you, but I was nervous about going to Nicaragua. I mean, Nicaragua is on the recommended do not travel list by the US, and they say, um, sometimes they target Americans, and I was nervous. I don't know. I think I was like, it's like old trauma that I thought was done was it was bringing up. And I mean, there's days like I just didn't want to eat. I felt like my stomach was in knots. I felt
Mm.
really anxious. I really relied on a number of like healers that I work with. And you were just so amazing through that process. I mean, sometimes I would just like message you. I mean, even at the airport, I'm just like, it's like, am I really gonna do this? And you just, yeah, I feel like that's kind of this like this like kind of like unspoken thing in your work is you're also this like somatic therapist, and you really, I feel like really create this space of like calm and healing. And I
Mm.
just want to say how much I really appreciate you like being there through all my
Thanks
freak
so
outs.
much. Thank you. No, you didn't have any freakouts, but yeah, it's a big deal, right? Like bring this massive vision to life and then also be the person handling all of the logistics and,
Mhm.
adding travel to that and just all of the things. And yeah, I always just try to really, yeah, hold that frequency so that I can be like steady and grounded
Mhm.
and also just for me, I usually try to just like give it up to spirit and just be like, I am the
Mhm.
vessel for this art, this creativity, this energy to move
Mhm.
through. And so like whatever that needs to be, whatever that needs to look like I'm here for
Yeah.
it. And so in some ways I try to like of course I'm attached to the outcome. I want you to have a great experience, great photos, great videos, but like I'm not attached to it in the way that you are. So I can
Mhm.
have my hands off a little bit and just be like,
Mhm.
I'm going to be here holding whatever happens so
Yeah.
that you can have, whatever emotions arise and that's okay too. And it just contributes to the experience because there were some
Yeah.
really beautiful moments that unfolded from either these pivots or
Mhm.
really just honoring the truth of your energy or your emotions or your being like over the scene or not feeling it or
Mhm.
whatever it was like
Yeah.
really honoring those just
Mhm.
makes it even more powerful with the final images and videos.
Yeah, definitely. And going to Nicaragua, so I had, other than my ex, and I've been to, part of the story is I had gone to this gallery when I was in Miami for Art Basel and found that this amazing art that I just loved, and it was a Nicaraguan artist. Now he wasn't actually there because he lives in Switzerland, and we ended up having a Zoom call. So I don't know if you say I met him, but I had a conversation with a Nicaraguan person. But it was like all this like irrational fear I had about just this fear of around Nicaragua for, again, I think it was something more deeply rooted. And yet as soon as I got to Nicaragua and as soon as I got out of the airport, I mean, I feel like it was just this hand of grace that just came
Mm.
and guided so much of the trip. I mean, as soon as I met my taxi driver, he had the sign, Maurice, and I remember like putting my hand into his hand, and he has these like really big hands. They're like baseball mitts, it felt like, and I just felt instantly like calm with him. And he speaks really good English. He worked on like cruise ships and what have you. And then I got to the Airbnb and I decided, that I'm not going to skimp on where we stay. Let's stay somewhere. And I love this Airbnb so much. It was so gorgeous. It was, um,
Stunning.
yeah, it was on this lake, and literally we could walk down the lake. The photos were there, and the guy was, I don't remember if he was American or European, but anyways, but a Western person, and just so incredibly helpful, and even again helping with like even just the planning of things. And initially I wanted to go take pictures at this white church in Lyon, and he was like, no, like that's really far, and that's it actually, there's even more beautiful churches. You should go to Granada, which is much closer, and I ended up working out perfectly because I ended up going to the white church after you left some days later and realized you're not allowed to take professional photos up there. So thank God. Um,
So glad we didn't plan around
oh my
that.
gosh, yeah. But like as soon as I got to the Airbnb, it's just I feel like my body just like all that tension just totally melted. And
Yeah.
Nicaragua is such, that's one thing I realized in all my nerves and da 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 is like it is such a gorgeous country. It has
Wow. Yeah.
beautiful nature. I feel people were so warm and kind, and I actually was like, oh, I like really love this place.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm
And
really
such a
glad.
vibrant culture too, like visually
Mhm.
just so vibrant, especially when we got into Granada, like just wow. Yeah, it just
Yeah.
felt like such a perfect fit for your vibe, but also just like the energy of the shoot itself, the whole arc of it.
Yes, yes. And I had in the logistics because you live in Maine, and as we're planning, I was like, do you just want to come in a bit early? I know sometimes with the shoots, it's like you fly in the night and then you shoot during the day and then you leave the next day, and that's kind of a lot. Like, do you want to maybe come in
Exhausting.
like a day early, have a day to like reset, and then we could shoot. And then I'm really grateful because I had this idea, which was really generous of you. Like, well, what if we do the first set like the evening before? and then just realizing just things with like lighting and timing, and then basically we kind of like stretch out on the next day. We can shoot in the morning and then the late afternoon, and just allow more, spaciousness, so we don't have to cram it all in one day. Yeah, what do you speak to, like, how was it like for you first arriving to Nicaragua? And
Yeah, it was. I'm always a little nervous traveling with like all my gear and stuff. And so when you were like, oh, it's
Mm.
on the like
Oh
US
yeah.
warning list, I'm like, oh, how's this gonna go? But then, yeah, basically what you said, as soon as you exit the airport energy, it's just, yeah, you have this like whole entire system exhale of just like, oh, I've arrived, we're here. And yeah, and then I think in terms of the flow, breaking it up over the day, I mean, very quickly, we kind of realized like, between like 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., you're just melting if you're outside. So it's
Mhm.
literally impossible to shoot. I would think even like a bikini shoot would be out of the question because it's just so
Yeah.
hot and sunny. But then to bring in these like avant-garde clothing items and styling that it's not just like a t-shirt and like it's you
Mm.
would have melted. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think breaking it up and doing the sunset, having the like midday to ourselves to just also just like reflect on what we created, what we tapped into, and
Mm.
then just really tune into and adjust to what needed to unfold next. It was really actually
Mhm.
so beautiful to not have to just like boom, 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 here's the plan. We only have so much time,
Mhm.
let's execute. We
Mhm.
really got to like play in the energy that was present with us. And I think like
Yes.
the final gallery and videos really are so much better for
Mhm.
that.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a really good point, because we really got to enjoy the day. I think, yeah, sometimes a photo
Yeah.
shoot you kind of rushed and it's just a whirlwind. And like we did a lot, but we also took like we took a siesta, we took a long siesta the second day,
Yeah.
and yeah, got to like take our time. It was kind of a balance of, having like plans and locations, and as we mentioned, some of them I learned even before arriving that they weren't going to be the right location, but still, like when we arrived, it still was still kind of open. And sometimes, like, there's a certain point of like we weren't in Nicaragua yet, so we don't really know until we're there. And I mean, there's a part of me that there should be some spontaneity involved. And I
Yeah.
remember just like even asking um because sometimes it's hard to like even just communicate, even with the Airbnb hosts and stuff. Just you're like trying to be clear, like, yeah, we're actually doing like a photo shoot, like a fashion shoot. Like it's such a wild idea that sometimes people don't quite grasp it. Like, oh, you usually take some photos like a tourist. Like,
A
no.
tourist photo, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and so with our driver, because we were, kind of using him to like, kind of trying to like get some ideas, and some of those things really landed, and then sometimes we had to be like, oh, Maurice, no, this isn't really what we're going for. But I remember like our first day, um, we had actually, well, first we because I was like, I need some more clothes, so maybe I'll wear like a knicker. Can we go look for some native clothes? And we ended up going to this market, and I bought this outfit, which apparently Nicaraguan dancers wear, and of course it's like the most expensive thing there, of course, because what I like, but I ended up just going for it anyway. And even us kind of like driving around Lyon and like, checking out the church in advance, but yeah, like this is the one we want to go to. And
Yeah.
just yeah, kind of making a plan on the fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it felt effortless between the two of
Mhm.
us. Cause
Yeah.
again, like I've been in situations where clients, when things aren't going according to the plan, they start to
Mm.
panic. And then that energy is just like really hard to shift out of.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, you were really good about like, "Ah, okay, let's try and make the goal happen, and then when it's not happening, let's pivot, and it's
Yeah.
everything's still going to be great."
Yeah.
And it just, yeah, I mean, like at the church, we couldn't really go into the church and take the photos that we wanted. We had
That's
to pay
right.
to go up on the roof. It was like this tiny. There was tons of people up there, but
Yeah.
like we got some epic stuff. We got what we needed, and
Yeah.
yeah, we just were able to really lean into each other, I think, in those moments where it's
Mhm.
like, okay, this isn't going the way that we wanted to. What ideas do you have? What ideas do you have? Okay, let's roll with it and really just like
Yeah.
hold each other through it.
Totally. Yeah, I think that's part of it, even in the decision of like choosing you is, yeah, I'm going to this foreign country. I don't know anybody. And like you were like really my one like real lifeline because I mean one is
Yeah.
I obviously worked with you before and it's like it felt like you were like a becoming a friend and it was like yeah you were like so many roles in one. You weren't just like photographer, you were also like 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 yeah, like almost like you have like a travel buddy and you're like navigating all these logistics
Yeah.
and everything too.
No, it was definitely a true collaboration on every single level. And
Yeah.
just in retrospect, like as you're talking, I think it definitely, for an experience like this, really helps that you and I are both so well traveled. We do a lot of
Hmm.
traveling. We know how to
Hmm.
travel and know all of the hiccups and the changes that can
Hmm.
come along with that, and how to just roll with those punches. So I think like that
Yeah.
really just having that as a baseline
Hmm.
really made the entire experience that much easier for both of us and really like
Yeah.
helped align us on,
That's very,
yeah,
very
just
true. Yeah.
reacting in the moment.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to talk about the first shoot, which I call the Haunted Bride shoot. And I feel like this is like the signature of the shoot. Like, I mean, all the sets are so good, but I feel like this is the one that we're just like beaming with like even a little more like just like extra pride of like, man, that was just insanity. So I had partly with this whole photo shoot, it wasn't just, again, like putting on pretty outfits and going taking photos. It was actually telling my story. And the first part of the story was supposed to be, um, like kind of for like an embodiment of like where I was. And by the end of the shoot, I love to finish with like the direction of where I'm going and like stepping into something. So for this first shoot, there are all these themes that were coming up around this tortured bride and that connection to like losing my virginity in this way that was so wrong and connections with I mean even just a long journey in recent years with celibacy and being m- like my ex had proposed to me and I had said yes and also, it's funny because I was like telling some of this to a book writing, my friend Julie Lamb, writing our books together, and she talked about this mythical character, Miss Havisham, and it's the story of this woman who is going to get married and goes in her wedding dress and is like there, and basically like her groom leaves her at the altar, and so for the rest of her life, she wears the same wedding dress and it starts to get dusty and like, her attitude is getting ever more, like bitter about life and love and like in some way that was also part of this character. So I wanted to go to a church and just and somehow tap into all that energy. And it's funny how it all just played out because I had this dress from the 55,000 dress collection. It's this like white dress with the train, and I decided, I want to wear it backwards, and so that kind of gave it a different look. And I want to add some dark elements with it. And I had this black lace top from forever ago, and then I gotten this. Actually, I just got it on Amazon. If I'm honest, it's just this like flower crown and this veil, and then I found this like massive cross, which is actually a adornment for a wall, but I decided to make it a necklace. And I ended up, ordering, I even ordered like a few veils. Like I wasn't really sure, what it was all going to look like. And in the midst of everything with planning for the trip, I actually didn't even like finalize the outfit until I think like the day of. Like, I don't even know if I don't think I haven't even fully finalized when we were going there. I just kind of like literally we're in the back of the car. This isn't a van. This is just like a car. And I'm just changing into it and then like looking, kind of trying to look in the mirror. And it was like it was magic because the outfit just it just really all pulled together perfectly. And I had my red dominatrix boots and the lipstick and I
Yeah.
had a black veil and it just was like, chef's kiss. This is exactly
Yes.
and as soon as I got out, it's interesting because as soon as I got out of the car, it was like when the bell rang from the church, and I just had this feeling like, when you're like a bride and you're walking into the
Yeah.
church, like I felt like that. And I just kept saying, like, as we first, got and we're taking photos outside the church, and there's this big cross there, and I was just had this feeling like, have I done this before? Like, this just
Mm.
feels really, it feels like in some parallel universe, either I would have done this, maybe me and my ex would have gotten Nicaragua and I would have been here, or I've been here before, but there's just this some kind of feeling. And
Yeah.
It's funny you look back now, the photos are like I'm obsessed with the photos. I just feel like the lighting was so perfect, the way you captured it. Like I was just in the mood of the tortured bride.
Yeah.
Um and yet it just sort of happened effortlessly. I don't even know how that how
Yeah,
that
it's
came.
I
Yeah.
remember so many of the specific moments, but it's also like, yeah, it was just a blur because it just flowed so perfectly. Like I feel like
Mm.
once we started shooting and found our groove, it was just like effortless.
Yeah, yeah. It was really funny because a few people, and just to say, most there's like not really English speakers around, and um, but a few times that people, I think they would ask you, they're like, "Oh, are you guys getting married?"
Yeah.
I'm like, I have this black veil across my face, and you're holding a camera, but
Yeah.
okay.
She's wearing
Yeah,
like thigh-high red leather boots.
yeah, yeah. But it's interesting because I think people would, kind of peer over at us, but they never did it in a way that felt like too invasive or too, I don't know.
Mhm.
Like, they almost like they would ask like our driver, like, what are they doing? But it was like
Yeah.
so respectful. Um,
Yeah, definitely a respectful curiosity. And I never felt like it never felt like we were being gawked at or like we
mhm.
were being judged even, or like, I didn't feel like we shouldn't have been doing that. It just felt
Yeah.
like, yeah, they were embracing us and whatever weirdness we were up to.
Yes. Yeah, so you mentioned like we couldn't really go into the church. We're like, okay, well, I guess not. But we were able to go up to the bell tower, which was pretty challenging to walk in. It's this like tiny little stairwell, and of course I had my boots and this like train of a dress. But we get up and there's people up there, but you would never know from the photos. We got some beautiful
Yeah.
photos, and then there was just this feeling like it's like some kind of switch, and it was like, I think we need to go back to the lake. Like something was like, we need to go now, and
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I think pretty quickly we hightailed it out of there. Do we want to go back to the lake where and I don't even think that was, I don't even think that was even our plan. I don't know if but somehow that was like just this inspirational, like, let's go back.
Yeah, I think it was an in the moment pivot that you were like, do you think we can get back in time for sunset? Like, I really feel like the water is where this one kind of ends. And you were
Yeah.
just like, okay, let's try it. Let's see if we can get back there in time. And then as we're pulling up, we're both like, the sun is setting perfectly. Okay, let's run down there. Let's get in the water. And
Yes.
then, yeah, almost immediately, as soon as we got down to the water, it was like we both were able to drop right back into the energy of
Hmm.
creation instead of like chasing the light and just
Hmm.
let the rebirth and reclamation like really unfold from there. Because I feel like as soon as we
Yeah.
got down to the water, there was like another shift that was
Hmm.
just, yeah, I'll let you speak to that of just like what opened up and unlocked for you as you were like getting in the water. Because I could sense it and feel it behind the
Hmm.
lens. And in that moment, I was just
Hmm.
like, okay, I need to, again, like hold the frequency to really just like open this space for her to go
Yeah.
there, wherever
Yeah.
there is for her in this moment. And you totally did. And it was epic.
Yeah. It was so epic. It's interesting because I had packed some dominatrix gear because that's my alter egos, the style dominatrix. So I had packed some like rope and some tape and some fake blood. And maybe I because initially I thought we were gonna go back to the lake and then it's gonna get even more like dark. But I mean, part of it, well, one was like we just had to like kind of rush down to the water. And then also just something about it didn't feel right. Like I don't need that stuff. And then it wasn't planned at all, but it was like I was having this baptism and I didn't have there was no more tortured bride. I felt
Mhm.
euphoric. I was, like we walked into the water and then, just kind of like, you know, fall back into the water and then I'm just like splashing water and like kicking my arms and just I felt this euphoric joy just
Yeah.
pouring out of me. And it was like something in just and fully embodying that tortured bride just let her release from my being.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's such beautiful photos from that of just feeling, yeah, euphoric and free, and that it was truly this like baptismal shift in who I was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there was, yeah, the feeling this transition of like watching you like fall back into the water and having come from this, yeah, very tortured bride energy to then just like for me, it was a few moments of just like watching your energy shift from this like baptism into just pure joy and laughter. And I think at one point I was like, what's like, why are we laughing? Like, what's the energy here? What are we
Yeah.
laughing about? And you were like, I'm not married. And just like totally releasing this idea of like, this could have been a part of my life, and I've been like holding on to what this path could have looked like for me, and now I'm like releasing it completely, and I'm so glad that it didn't come to pass for me in the ways that I like
Mm.
envisioned that it could have or should have or whatever, and just like
Mhm.
yeah, really letting go of like the what could have been in that moment
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
literally seeing the weight of that come off of you, and it completely shifted, yeah,
Mm.
from this like tortured bride
Mm.
to just like celebratory, I'm not a
Mhm.
bride. And that's fucking
Right.
epic. That's so great.
Right. Yeah, I forgot that I had said that. That I do remember that now. Oh, it's
Yeah.
amazing. You know, one thing it just blows my mind about you is you do both photo and video. So I have like all these videos reels, and like I'm just astonished how you're able to do both. And that's what's so cool because they both have so much value to them. And so we have these moments on video of me like splashing around the water and just beaming, and like the sunset is just like it's like the perfect blue and yellow and gray color. And yeah, just your ability to do both photo and video is like, oh, like insanity.
Yeah, more and more I'm getting the reflection from people that that's such a unique thing. And
Hmm.
I didn't realize that it was such a unique thing. It's definitely not for everybody. I mean, it definitely
Yeah.
takes some extra brain power in the moment to switch back
Mm.
and forth and to really have the discernment of like what which format is really going to honor this moment the most.
Hmm.
Like some of those moments, really the joy can only come through in the video in some of those moments.
Mm.
And then like
Hmm.
the freedom and the release, like for me, some of those can only be expressed in those like still shots in those photos. So it's just, yeah, really
Mm.
finding the
Yeah.
balance of like which one is going to honor the energetics and the emotion of this moment the most. And then, yeah, and I just like, it excites me so much to be able to give you back photo and video so that you get to play with, yeah, creating your own social media stuff and just like taking those moments and applying them to like how you interact with your clients and the work that you
Yeah.
do and just how you show up in the world. It's just so
Yeah.
special to get to see. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I love doing
Amazing.
both.
Yeah, it was perfect, perfect. Yeah, so that was the first day. We were
First day.
so excited, but we're like, oh my God, crushing it, crushed it already. Like I could like die happy just with that.
Yes.
But we still have a whole another day. And so we made this plan to get up at sunrise, and our taxi driver had suggested that we would hire this private little boat and go out onto this these like little island area. And again, we don't really know what exactly this is, but we're like, okay. And oh yeah, I was just remember on our in the Airbnb, like it was this like steady incline driveway, and his car kept getting like it would get like stuck, like I wouldn't be able to drive up. So like we did this like every time we would I don't know if we're gonna make it.
Gonna
It
be able
was
to get out of the
yes.
Airbnb to get to where we need to go.
Oh man, that was such a trip in itself. But yes, like we did get out of there. And I thought that this was going to be my yellow star outfit, and that never arrived. And that company was a pain in the butt to work with. Took like 2 months to get the refund. But anyways, um, and so I kind of had to like pull together these different orders, and I ended up with this outfit that looked good, but I didn't really know what it represented. But it ended up being perfect. So it was this pink fuchsia dress which had red lace on it, and then I always had my signature red hat, and then I had these big butterfly earrings and these fuchsia boots. And so we get onto this boat, at like 7 o'clock, and we go out, and it was such a beautiful scene. All this
So
great,
stunning.
yeah, like there would be these like trees in the water and the birds and monkeys, and then there'd be these like little islands that some they build mansions on, and then other ones were like smaller, and it was like this is like just so special and unusual.
Yeah.
You like
Yeah.
just on our little speedboat, going through. Um, Although kind of hard to capture with like the lighting and everything. I don't know. That was hard to capture. But we ended up stopping on one of these little islands, which was a fortress. And
Yeah,
that was
so
such a great
cool.
scene for us. Yeah, I think my one of my favorites is climbing up to the top and there was this whole like Nicaraguan flag. And
Yeah.
that's when it's like I became this conquistador and it really fit the outfit as well. And we also had this other beautiful old door down below and yeah, and the colors just really they had such drama. They just really popped
Yeah.
against each other. Yeah. What was it like for you, that whole scene?
I think pulling up and seeing the fort, I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. And then, yeah, just seeing it all like with the flag and the big door and then your outfit, and then realizing, like, yeah, the lighting and just everything for that specific moment really required it to be a bit moodier, um,
Yeah.
in terms of the look and the how I set everything up in terms of the shots. But I love those photos because it
Mhm.
does feel like a declaration of like, yeah, planting your flag in the ground and like, I am here, I've arrived, I'm like in front of the door, ready to like blast it open and walk in and just like own it. And it
Yes.
just, yeah, it felt like such a powerful backdrop for the energy coming off of especially that
Mhm.
first evening, and really just like, yeah, it felt like a very just like declarative arrival. Like all of those photos
Mhm.
feel like you're just like planting the flag in the ground and being like, I'm here, bitches.
Yeah. It was a perfect way to start day two. And also just a really
Yeah.
nice like adventure to go out on this boat and see all these spots. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, a lot of
that
those
was
aren't even
so
in
so
the
special.
photos, but it was like our experience, so cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Getting to spend the morning and just like popping out here and there to do some
Mhm.
photos, but then yeah, just like really spending the morning almost like exploring as friends and getting to be tourists in between the photo moments, and yeah, getting to see this island of just monkeys and then having like passing a different island where he's like telling us about some guy building a mansion on it, and it's just, yeah, that felt very special because it felt like we got to just connect with the culture and see a part of Nicaragua that probably most people don't see, you know. Like when
Yeah.
I hear people going to Nicaragua, I'm not hearing them renting like a little tiny boat and just kind of like island hopping. So,
Yeah, I didn't know it existed before I went. So yay for
yeah.
Maurice for suggesting it
Yeah,
to us.
exactly. Thank you,
Right,
Maurice.
right. Yeah. So then we wanted to get back into town because there's so many beautiful, colorful buildings, and we thought it
Mhm.
would look great with the outfit. And I was already, it was like 9:30 or something, but it was kind of hard, it was harder with the light. But then we're on this corner, and all of a sudden, as if by magic, this horse-drawn carriage turns the
Oh my
corner, and
God.
it's like decorated with like pink flowers, like the cutest thing. And so we're like, okay, this guy needs to stop. And we ended up getting some
It
really
also
great photos.
perfectly matched your entire outfit. It was
Yes.
like the perfect
Yes.
compliment.
It was so cute. I love, yeah, and it felt like the romantic side of me and like the girly side of me just
Yes.
got to have fun. I love those.
Yeah, and that was another thing that just felt like, yeah, when we saw that horse and carriage and he was like, "Yeah, I'm free. I can like be a part of your photo shoot." It was like, "You can't write this. You can't make this up. Like this
Yes.
horse buggy and carriage is like the exact styling that if I was like curating the shoot for Vogue, like this is the carriage I would pick and it's here for us." And it just, and then we moved it around into the shaded
Mm,
area so we had perfect lighting and
yeah.
just, yeah, and I think too, just like you can see once we kind of moved out of that tortured bride energy and just the more we kind of fell into our own groove, like you really start to shine and just, I think, let your walls
Mm,
down as the photos go
mhm.
on. And I just feel like the horse carriage photos in particular, I just feel like, yeah, I don't know. To me, I look at those and I'm like, oh, Jen, like I'm meeting Jen, like looking
Mm,
at these photos.
yeah.
Like this is her essence. This is her whole vibe of like this gorgeous, incredible outfit, like vibrant colors of just like boom, but like not really in your face, but just like she's
Yeah.
here. That's Jen. It's so, yeah,
Yeah.
I love those photos.
I think part of what I love about it because I really am actually like in my heart of hearts, I'm like such a girl's girl, girly. I love pink. If you, follow me, I love pink. And
Mhm.
if there was something about like being on the horseback carriage and like that the kind of like the little whip thing for the horse.
Yes.
So it was like a little bit of like dominatrix energy, but it's like actually like I'm just a lover of pink and girl and frill,
Yeah.
but I got a little bit of that energy that I can let my aggression out. So it was
Yes,
fun. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that was so fun.
yeah. So next I changed into my Nicaraguan outfit, the one that I had bought before, which felt like the top felt like I was like a Christmas present. All these like bows sewed onto it. And then this like layered green skirt with ruffles. And then also at times oh yeah, I had like a little flower crown that I put on. And at times I would switch and wear this like kind of weird mask I would put on just to cover my face and like a whole like a baby doll almost, grown up. And we went to this famous yellow church in Nicaragua, which really set the color set really nicely because my top was yellow. And then we also went into just the streets, those like small
Yeah.
streets with all these colorful buildings, and we got some really great shots just with that all the colors because I was wearing so much color and like that kind of like city vibe. Yeah, what are your memories of that? See those scenes?
That I really just loved because it felt like we were connecting with the Nicaraguan culture and also
Mm.
honoring it in a really beautiful way.
Oh yeah, my
And
Moroccans. I was like,
yes, yeah. Just so many good accessories for that. I loved that outfit and I just
mhm.
especially with the backdrop of the town was just so cool.
Yeah.
And as we continued through shooting the different scenes with that outfit, it really just those moments for me really felt like you were opening the invitation
Hmm.
in all of those photos and in all of those videos. And it just felt like, yeah, an invitation into your world, into your
Hmm.
essence, into your styling, and into, how do I articulate it? Yeah, into just like vibrancy and just like boldness. I'm having a hard time like trying to articulate what I'm feeling, but it just,
Doing
yeah, it
great.
really felt like a permission slip, all of those photos to just like be bold, take up space, and just like
Mm.
do the thing. Um,
Mm.
in every sense. And yeah, like I said, it just was made that much more special by really feeling like I mean, getting to be with you shopping for the outfit and getting to hear her
Mm.
talk about why the women wear them, what they wear them for,
Mm.
what goes into making them, like that felt like a really special way to connect with the culture and then to honor
Mhm.
it and just sort of be a part of it in that way. And everybody like that was in the town just loved seeing you. I felt like, it's
Yeah.
always you never know with stuff like that. If you go into a different culture
Mhm.
and you're wearing their outfits, some people could maybe not love that, but everybody just
Mm.
seemed to be loving it. They were cheering us on, and
Mhm.
they also just, again, like let us do our thing. I never felt like, should we maybe not be doing
Yeah,
this? It just felt like we were really showing our love and our respect for the culture. And yeah,
totally.
so
I
good.
remember for me because I feel like the tortured bride somehow came like really naturally to me. I don't know. I'm like some Scorpio in my chart, like South Node, Pluto, Scorpio. Like I could like tap into that. And actually, this of just being this happy-go-lucky Latin American Nicaraguan was actually like I was like, wow, this actually it takes a lot of energy, like to just be so happy, Like it was kind
Yeah,
of
at
like
one point you were like, do I just keep spinning and playing with the dress? I
yeah,
don't really know what to do here.
yeah, right. Like I'm more
But it
comfortable
was
with my
great.
resting bitch face, like this,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I did love too that the maracas made it so much fun and added like a little bit of movement. But that mask and
yeah,
I feel like was so interesting. Yeah, I've never
yeah,
seen anything
totally.
like that. And it was just we used it for two different looks, two different outfits.
Mm,
But I feel like in this one it was just so interesting when we did use it because it's such a contrast. It feels so much more like
yeah.
serious and almost like spooky compared to the
Mhm.
vibrancy of the rest of your outfit and all these layers and ruffles and like the bright yellow church behind you. But it was just a really cool contrast to play with and
Yeah.
then felt like a really cool, almost like callback to be able to tie those two looks
Mm,
together with that mask and see. how much less creepy it looked with a second outfit.
Yeah.
Um,
Good point.
but yeah, I
Yeah.
really love
Mhm.
those images in that in the Nicaraguan outfit with the mask because it's just such a like
Mhm.
juxtaposition of like this really free, colorful,
Mhm.
flowy, and then like this, yeah, kind of spooky
Mhm.
mask.
Yeah. I kind of like the mask because it literally just has slits for my eyes. So I just felt
Yeah.
like I feel like I could like hide behind it,
Yeah.
Kind of nice. Yeah, so by this point it's getting hot. I don't know if it's like 10:30 or something, but we're like, let's go back to the lake and like let's get in the water again. Just
Yeah.
felt the water was like this clear water and just so refreshing, so clean, like just so clean. And so we get into the water and I wanted to do these shots around with having like flowers around me and like face shots. And I have to say that's a really, really hard thing to capture. I mean, I think one, because we're like picking flowers from like the side,
Yeah.
trying to find the flowers and trying to find a spot because it was so bright at this point that like a spot where we wouldn't have that harsh lighting or hitting me and then for me to look relaxed. I'm not a model. Like actually I like more like the whole outfit, but like just to get my face. I found that really challenging, but I was amazed that you really got some really beautiful shots that really like nailed it from that. So well done to
Yeah.
you to making it work.
Well done to you for just like, I mean, yeah, rough conditions, I think,
Yeah, yeah.
in that moment. Um, yeah, and just
Oh yeah, and
really
do
so,
you remember the water was like pushing me at
yes,
times?
just like
And I'm like,
jostling
and
you.
I have to try to be like
I'm like,
relaxed.
relax, and you're
I'm
like,
trying
I'm
to, yeah,
drowning.
yeah,
And yeah, so I just think like a true testament to you for just like trusting me and trusting my
yeah.
vision when I'm like, no, no, we will get the shot, I promise. And again, just being able to like adjust on the fly of like I had a specific vision. Like once we got down there, I could see the shot in my mind, and
Mhm.
you were like,
Mhm.
okay, I trust you, but also like not totally sure. And then we had to move you in the water a couple of times because you were getting
Yeah.
jostled or like having water in your face. And but once we like landed you in the spot and we found the light and we got your head propped up on a rock and we had you shallow enough that you weren't like in
Yes.
the waves. And then, yeah, I just remember there was like this one particular moment where I was like, okay, we're here. Like, take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out. And it just like, I was like, oh, there she is. Okay. And then I snapped the photos and especially like there are a few where it's just very closely framed of your face, which can be a challenge for a photographer because not everybody loves their
Mhm.
face that close, no
Yeah.
matter where you are on like your self-love journey. Um,
Mhm.
but there's just those feel so soft and like
Mhm.
tender and vulnerable, but also still with that same like Gen fire and vibrancy
Mhm.
and color and just yeah, again, like the storyteller in my brain is just like another through line between the tortured
Mhm.
bride and this Nicaraguan outfit of like getting in the water, having this rebirth. This time you're surrounded by color and nature and light and you're floating, instead of like
Yeah.
splashing around and all of the things. And so yeah, I love,
I
love,
love
love those ones,
those.
especially of your
Yeah.
face. It just
They're so beautiful.
like,
I love the one that you put the upside down of me. Oh,
yeah.
it's one of my favorites. So good.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Yeah.
this for me those were definitely like where I had that moment of like, oh, there she is. Because it was
Yeah.
just like I could feel you and your system just like exhale of like, okay, I don't
Mhm.
really know what her vision is here. I don't really know what's happening, but like I'm gonna let go and trust. And then you did,
Mhm.
and it was
Mhm.
so
So good.
good.
So then we took a siesta. It was
Much
hot.
needed.
Yeah, totally. So hot. And I love that we could take a siesta, get in the air. Our rooms had air conditioning.
Thank
And
God.
yeah. And so I didn't hire, I usually for a shoot, I'm always like, hire a makeup person and hair. I think it makes a huge difference. But going to Nicaragua, trying to find someone who's going to be available for like a 5 a.m. call that's going to speak English. So I ended up, I'd recently bought a Dyson Airwrap, so I ended up like washing my hair again, just straightening it really good. And I bought some new makeup, which was kind of fun to be a little experimental. So usually I recommend you do hair and makeup, I really do, but this time I did it myself. So yeah, it took a little break, got my outfits together. Yeah, I don't even think I had them fully styled before. I think I might even then was when I like fully picked it all, got it all together. And then we head out because this is going to be our like volcano shoot. And I
Yeah.
wear these like red latex pants and this pink sequin top with this line of like fur. Of course, my red
Mm.
hat and like my whip and pink shoes. And we go, and so we kind of know already, okay, we can't go to like, we can't fulfill the whole vision of going right to the crater, but maybe we can get something. We want it to feel like we're getting a volcano. Actually, wait, no, sorry, I have to backtrack. We first went to the lake.
Looking for flowers.
Flowers. Yeah. We
Yeah,
went
yeah.
first went to this lake and we're like,
Yeah.
no, this is like this just isn't right. No, we're not gonna get photos here. Like, no,
Mm-mm.
no, no, no. So then we learned that they sell a lot of these like roadside flower shops because there's a lot of great flora here. And so we're taking some of this flower shop, this lady lets take photos. And I wasn't really, I don't know, like, I mean, they're good photos, but it was something I wasn't feeling it as much, you know? But then we find this like soot. But I'm like, let's go down. Like somehow between us, we're like, let's find something else. And we go and there's this like almost this like more, dilapidated kind of building, kind of abandoned, and this like pile of like black soot, and it ends up being like the perfect scene. And I'm like there on my gold whip, and it like added like that edge and the contrast, which the flowers didn't have. And
Yeah.
those are actually the first photos that I shared because I like love them so much, and they're like
Yeah.
kind of the signature of the shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of like we can make it work, right? Like we can make any
Mhm.
scene work, we can try and work with any lighting and like especially with a project like this, it's like sometimes you have the vision for a reason, right? And sometimes the vision is like not meant to be. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, looking for these flowers and I'm like looking around and I'm just like, none of these are jumping out and speaking to me, but this is what she wants. Let's try it. And then we tried it and I show it to you in the camera and you're just like, it's really not like you, it didn't light you up like I wanted it
Yeah.
to. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this is not it. And then, yeah, we found this like construction pile.
Yeah.
And exactly like you said, it was just, it felt like the perfect contrast, but also like it matched your outfit so well because
Mhm.
it, while it
Mhm.
was this like girly feminine colors, there was like a lot of structure and toughness and masculinity, especially with
Mhm.
the whip, to the
Yeah.
outfit. And so it was just like, yeah, you got to like dominate your dirt pile instead of like being like a pretty like Snow White and a bunch of flowers or something.
Yeah.
And it just, yeah, with the flowers and stuff, they were competing for attention and
Mhm.
that setting really just like let you be the
Mhm.
focus. And yeah,
Totally.
it really, in retrospect, does feel like a signature because it also is like, yeah, your foot on the pile, being like, we overcame
Mhm.
this, we
Yeah.
conquered.
Yeah. That was so good. So good.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so then we were going to the volcano. I mean, we have a bit of a reality check of like, okay, we're not gonna get any lava, but like we're gonna get something good. And you end up spotting this area, which almost it looked to me like Mars. It was like this like black dirt. And then we get there and realize it's not like dirt, it's like char. It's like these like sharp edges. And you and Maurice
Yeah.
are like walking me out there because I'm in heels and like latex. And I'm like,
And it was
oh,
so sharp. It was so
that's so
sharp.
sharp. Yeah, I ended up like actually scratching my shoes and my pants and stuff. I figured out later.
Oh.
And that happens. Um, and so it's interesting because we're like in this, and the photos are really good, but like you would never know. Like when I was there, I was like, I can't move, I'm just like
Yeah,
in
yeah.
this spot. And like you're gonna have to come to me to like turn a few inches and stuff. But it looks, yeah, it's really dramatic that scene.
Yeah, and that's why I was like so insistent. There are some times where I'm just like I have a vision and
Yeah.
okay, it's not the easiest vision to accomplish, but just ride with me here and like we'll be here
Yeah.
for 5 minutes and yeah, I think like I love those particular photos so much because it really does look like you're on a completely different planet and it's just such a yeah, I don't want to keep using the word contrast, but it really juxtaposes
Mhm.
with the outfit, especially in a way that like because the dirt pile, the construction pile was very much like a city scene, like human life,
Mhm.
in and around like where other people are. And this literally just feels like you are like a hot pink feather boa, like alien with a whip on a different planet, just like here to dominate.
Yeah, yeah. It looks really cool. I can't wait for those of
Yeah.
you like listening to like hear just actually see the results of what we
Go
created.
look at the photos.
Yeah. So something happened next of like I don't know if someone had come and told us or what, but they're like, you can't go further up. And I was like no. And I was even in
Yeah.
these heels, which were like really uncomfortable, just to say. But I was like, no, like we're going. And so we just started like walking up this like incline. And then we get to this area and we're like, oh no, because there's all these people on the ground and like someone on a stretcher. And we're like, what's happening? And then we learned that it was just like a practice thing.
Yeah, they're just like
Like,
training to how to
yeah,
handle medical
start to skate.
emergencies.
Yeah. And so we get to like the very top that we can go, and we're a little bit, we're kind of underwhelmed. Like it looks like we're at this like top of a hill, and there's like really harsh lighting, and there's a little bit
Yeah.
of steam, but it kind of like you could really miss it. It's coming out of the ground. It almost looks like pots of water have like steam coming off of it. But and you're like, I don't
Impossible to
yeah.
photograph.
Yeah. And you're kind of like, gosh, this is hard, but actually we did get some really good photos up there. Like the
Yeah.
sky looks really blue, and I look like I'm in
Yes.
like a desert actually. It looks actually looks really cool.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely feels, yeah, desert vibes. And I think like that particular setting, we really got to like just show the scale of the
Mhm.
landscape a little bit more than we really did anywhere else of just like, yeah, those really wide shots where you're just like smaller in the middle and just really getting, it
Yeah.
doesn't look like a volcano exactly. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's giving like it was just such a unique vibe and energy compared to all of the rest of the little vignettes and
Yeah.
spots that we were able to find. And there, yeah,
Yeah.
there's a very powerful energy. I think like the tones of like the red earth and then like
Mm.
your outfit makes those images really, really powerful.
Mm. Totally.
And how you're
And just like
standing and everything too.
yeah, I remember we went into like our because our poor sometimes Maurice like really nailed it, and sometimes we're like, nope, this isn't it. So I think like later in the day we're like, we don't have any time to spare. So like he took us to this one like museum, like a volcano
Oh
museum or something.
gosh, yeah.
And the guy at the front desk was like so excited to show us the museum. We're like, we just want to go for the
We
view.
have
And
no
then we like
time.
don't like the view, and we're like, poor guy was like, he's like, I finally have a tourist, and they're just like the
I
rude
know.
Americans. So
But I
funny.
think to your point earlier of just like they probably hear photo shoot and just envision like the family
Yeah,
photo
yeah,
perched, on the railing with like the view in the background. And we're like, this is not at all what we're wanting. And then we
yeah.
pulled over basically where the lava rocks were. And he's like, we're like, Maurice, we need you to
So this is
carry
what
her.
we
And he's
want.
like,
Yeah,
oh,
right.
okay, I get it now a little bit more.
Totally. So we know we don't have much time before sunset. And I have this like really dramatic outfit to wear to the last, which I somehow at some point need to get in. I'm not in it yet.
Yeah.
And I had like pulled up on because like I felt like there were all these things that weren't quite work like my vision were like I really want like to be able to really see the smoke in the sky and like the backdrop of the volcano, you know? And
Yeah.
so I showed him this vision. It was like a Pinterest. I think it was someone in like Sedona, but just something to see. We want to have like that vast landscape. And he's like, "Oh, I know just the place." And so we get in the car and and then it just was like that's when we talked earlier about like, yeah, we're not gonna make it, and you still need to change, and so that's when you were just like, and we kept asking like, how far, and we're looking at his map, and we're like, it's still really
The
good.
GPS is saying something very different than what he's like verbally telling us as
Yeah,
far as when we're gonna arrive. And yeah, I
yeah.
just feel like in that moment, like I almost had to sort of make an executive decision of like,
Hmm.
here's what we actually need to do to make sure that we get something. And
Hmm.
that's one of those moments where it's like my make it work brain kind of
Hmm.
comes into play, and it's like, how can we make the best case scenario outcome out of this? Like, okay, we're not gonna get you this photo at the base of base of a volcano with like the steam pouring out. Okay, not possible. But
Hmm.
I'd rather not show up in the dark and just be done
Yeah,
because we were leaving the next day. So it was
yeah,
like, I want to get something in this outfit that is not just like us standing in our villa or getting in the lake again. So,
yeah.
yeah, I made the executive decision and I was like, okay, let's turn around. Let's go to this restaurant that has an overlook that we already have driven past.
Yes.
It's like 10 minutes
Hmm.
away. Then we
Hmm.
will have at least, I don't even know what our window was, maybe 15, 20 minutes worth of light.
Hmm.
Um, you had enough time to change. And then it was like, cool, we can just stay and enjoy our dinner.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, once we arrived and got to see, like, they had this gorgeous yard basically with no tables, no like evidence of a restaurant
Mm,
overlooking the volcano, the entire landscape. They had these like handmade metal angel wings and just the whole vibe really. They had this like light up sign that said love.
mhm.
And it just really felt like the perfect place for the finale unintentionally. And it so suited your vibe and your outfit with the
Mhm.
wig and the fur and everything. It just, and we were able to get the volcano in there. And there are some photos where you can kind of see the smoke coming out of the volcano. So,
Yeah.
not the
Yeah.
original intention or the original idea, but we did get the Nicaragua volcano photos that we like came there for.
Yeah, I
So,
love this. I had this was like my most dramatic outfit in some ways I felt because I had a pink wig and I had this jacket with like fur lined sleeves and this like and then my dominatrix boots and this skirt with feathers and colors and I felt like a combination of a bird. I also felt like I was speaking to my transgender clients, like it felt like this whole other persona was coming out of me. And it ended up being it ended up being perfect. I love the wings and the love sign and being able to see the volcano. And yeah, and then it was like that's I mean I think the restaurant was like, what are you guys doing? We're gonna eat here after. Don't worry. It's
yeah.
so strange. But it yeah, it ended up turning out perfectly. And then that was our day. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Wild. And that
It was
felt like
wild.
truly the perfect way to sort of yeah, the perfect place for the finale. And that outfit also was just like the perfect I don't know, like transformation
Yeah.
from where we started. It felt like, yeah, so different from the tortured bride, but also like you could
Hmm.
connect almost every outfit as like a through line to get us to
Yes.
that one,
Yes.
which is
Totally.
just so cool, not only from like a, color perspective, but
Yeah.
story, themes, landscape, just
Yes.
all of it, energetics. It's such
Yes.
a perfect
Exactly.
finale.
Yeah. And just to say this whole experience, well, you can read the full story in my book, Radiance Why You're So
Yes.
Single, talk about it. And then they'll also you can check out, both of our work. We shared the photos and the whole experience. And it really this was more than just a photo shoot experience. It really changed my business and realizing that these are the kind of experiences that I want to take others on and I'm doing now. And that using all this sacred theater and style and culture and karma and somatic work and other cultures, like all this can weave together to tell your story and shift who you are and your identity and your business and come away with these stunning photos to document it all. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah,
just to
I
say,
feel like oh, go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I feel like, I mean, we talked about while we were in Nicaragua, like just the essence of what we were tapping into. I think we were both very aware of like we're tapping into something special here, not only between the two of us, but just
Mhm.
experientially, like with
Yeah.
what the kind of container and the kind of transformation that can unfold in spaces like this. And just what really the magic that can happen when your people find you. No matter
Yeah.
like what
Yeah.
industry you're in or no matter what the project is, like when you find soul aligned people who just get you,
Mhm.
who get your vision, who are like in your corner and want to help you just be the best you that you can be in the
Mhm.
world, like it's going to be magical. And yeah, I
Yeah.
love seeing and hearing how it transformed you personally and just like how you're bringing this into your business to hold your clients and create
Mhm.
these like yeah life-changing experiences for them. And it also transformed my business. It helped me
Mhm.
with your encouragement as well, just like create my dream offer, which is basically this but a
Mhm.
little bigger.
Mhm.
But just yeah, I really loved that even in the moment, we were able to be so present with just the power of what we were doing and what we were tapping
Yeah,
into. And I love being able to feel and witness the ripple effects that it continues to have for both of us afterwards,
totally.
because it's just so, so special what we tapped into and what we created together.
Yeah, definitely. Well, for those of you watching, be sure to follow Monica. And also, if this is something that you're interested in doing, like this is part of the offer that I'm creating and taking people on reclamation experiences. And Monica's off, I mean, you've been like all over the globe, I feel like, since doing your own experiences as well. So, If this really, if really spoke to you, please reach out to us and we'd love to
Yeah.
see what might be possible next for you.
Yes. And buy
Yeah.
Jen's book. It's
Oh,
amazing.
yes. Thank you. I'm also curating a group reclamation experience to Iceland that's coming up soon. So you can, yeah, follow me for more information on that. Monica, thank you. And this like turned out a lot longer than I thought. So thank you for staying
No,
over
of
and everything.
course.
Um,
Always happy to chat about co-creations.
yeah. Any final thing you wanna leave our listeners with?
No, I'm just so grateful to you for creating the space to have this conversation and really tell the story behind the images and the videos that we created together and just yeah, I get to speak a little bit more into the creative process. I feel like it can be really easy to just assume like, oh, they showed up, they clicked a couple buttons and they called it a day.
Mhm.
But like there really was so much more that went into it for both of us. So I'm just so grateful to be able to share that and let it live in the world. And like you said, hopefully resonate with the right people.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, if you want to learn more about me or my work, just find me on Instagram, Monica Justison. It's also my website. And yeah, I can't wait to connect with you.
Yeah. Beautiful. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think the last thing I would just want to share again to cycle back is, if you have that call that you're meant to do and experience in some ways like this to and that it feels just completely delusional and crazy, but also it like really, really excites you. I would say those are the ideas to follow, and it might just change everything for the better.
Yeah. Yeah. One of my friends always says if the dream is in you, it's for you. So that feels so
Yes.
true about something like this of just like if the dream is in you, it's for you. Bring it to
Mm,
life.
amazing. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for everyone tuning in, and
Yes.
see you again soon.